Two punks on an electric scooter just crashed into me intentionally and tried to pickpocket me. I'll be honest, I'm still a little agitated. It was probably a half hour, 45 minutes ago, but my adrenaline's still pumping a little bit, and I'll describe what happened. It was a little scary. I was coming from over there after walking back along the River Thames. And just for point of reference, we are here at the Blackfriars Tube Station. Again, it's a business area, not super busy on a Saturday morning, but definitely people around. And for reference, there's our hotel. So I was walking to here, knowing this is a bike lane. I always am careful to look left and right. As it was clear, I walked across into this safety zone before crossing the busy street. Around halfway into this walkway, out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone coming very fast. And I believe it was an electric scooter or electric bike. They came just crashing into me right here. The one person reached into my pocket, did not get anything. And they then, I will try to pivot over to here, they then came through the walkway and made a 180-degree turn right around over there. I yelled something very loudly about their mother, at which point I will acknowledge, as they were coming back toward me, I was nervous for a moment that they were coming back to me, but I was as pumped up as I was. Who knows what would have happened? Could have been an interesting situation. I'm going to call them young punks because I am just assuming they went riding off down that way, and I yelled that they got the wrong pocket. It might have been a profanity with it. I don't recall. There were two guys, maybe homeless or something, sitting over on those steps, and they yelled back, or yelled over to me to make sure I was okay, which I will acknowledge I was very shaken at that moment, but that was very nice of them, I thought. So that's what happened. That's the chain of events. But the key here is paying attention to your surroundings. I like to think that I keep my head on a swivel. I'm not afraid to go walking at very early hours in whatever city I am, and wherever. Here in London, I've gone out every morning about 4:45 or 5 a.m. And I've encountered some interesting characters out and about. Certainly some homeless people, although they're mostly sleeping at that hour. This morning it was particularly busy. Saturday morning, the nightclubs had just let out, so lots of drunk young people out and about. But I like to think I am comfortable wherever I am. So I didn't really bat an eye. I paid attention, but didn't bat an eye. And that's really the key. I'm not telling you London is dangerous. This can happen anywhere. And I'm certainly, it's a reminder, pay attention. If you see electric scooters, if you see, something out of the ordinary, if you're on a sidewalk and someone's coming at you, if it does happen, check your pockets right away. I remember this happened in Amsterdam a few months ago, and I remember someone collided into someone on the bike path, and then they went riding off. And I said to Kitty Cat, "Oh, I bet you they just grabbed that person's purse or wallet or something." And I don't know for sure, but I would guess that's what happened because people were yelling as the guy rode off. So intentionally collide, try to pickpocket or steal something. So pay attention. And in fact, for me, I've been videoing a lot this week. Unfortunately, a lot of them, the Rambling John videos, only a couple made them to YouTube. A lot of them ended up on the cutting room floor, as my editor is pretty tough. But, I like to think I was raised to pay attention, grew up in Los Angeles, and I joke a little, but I grew up in West LA. It was a good neighborhood, but you still have to pay attention to your surroundings. Bad stuff can happen anywhere. And going to school in central Los Angeles, I tend to pay a little more attention. And there were maybe more than one time, maybe several, where I was kicked off the school bus. And mom and dad did not give me a ride to school in those situations. They had me take the public bus. And I remember in those days, you take the Santa Monica bus and then you switch at Pico and Rimpaw to the RTD, which I remember from a rap song was coined as the rough, tough, and dangerous. And I think there's been other names. And you know, it was fine. But nonetheless, you pay attention into your surroundings, and I bring that with me today. I always pay attention to my surroundings, try to be as alert as I can, but it's just a reminder, pay attention. In particular, if you're holding something, I mentioned it to the hotel manager. He was inside when I got back, and he said they particularly target people that are holding food or something. I was not at the time, but I did have my backpack on as I was just going to drop off the laundry this morning. So, you know, so maybe I looked like a guy, like, not to say homeless, but maybe a guy that was carrying all my money in my pockets. You know, I don't know. But, you know, again, this is not ruining our vacation. It's a reminder. I stay vigilant. You know, don't be stupid. But, you know, again, we're in a safe neighborhood. It's, again, 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday. It's, you know, it's not a time necessarily that you're expecting that. And maybe that's, you know, maybe that's why they did it, right? But, you know, there's so many things that can happen on a trip. How many missed flights have you had? How many, you know, whatever, lost luggage. There's so many things that can happen, and you can't let it ruin the trip. Again, this is a bucket list trip. We've been planning it for 2 years, and I don't think we're going to go back to Africa. So, we fly there tonight. You know, beyond that, stuff happens in life. You know, bad stuff can happen. You have a bad breakup. You know, have a bad day at work, a bad meeting. You lose a client. I mean, there's just so many things, and you just can't let it ruin the day, the week, the month, the year. You have to bounce back. I've experienced some, you know, traumatic events in my life. Some, you know, much scarier moments than today. Much worse moments than today, and just try to bounce back as quick as I can. So with that, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and live your next chapter.